Coriolis: The Third Horizon is a science fiction tabletop role-playing game about mankind's distant future among the stars, particularly a certain cluster of them in which the free thinkers and radicals of the world once took refuge during an earlier era of colonization. It's got a little dash of Mass Effect, a little Star Wars, a little Dune, and a little Firefly, all rolled into one with a beautiful art style and an Arabian aesthetic. But you can get all that from paging through the book. I finally got to play Coriolis, and here's what I think. The world is very, very cool. It takes its themes and aesthetics seriously, and it delivers on them in spades. I can smell the Spice Plaza Bazaar. I can hear what it sounds like when the promenade is busy. I can picture how the average person is dressed and how I'd recognize nobility. The names of everything are cool and thematic and fun to say. I'd gladly play in this setting for a long time. The character creation is also quite cool. By the time you're done, you've been given a god to pray to, and a specific talent that corresponds to them. You get a talent from the type of adventuring party the table is chosen to be, and another for your concept. Choosing a party type gives you patrons and enemies for the party to choose right off the bat. There's a pretty decent spaceship builder that focuses on the experience of the ship and the stuff it has without being too finicky. Having a spaceship puts the party in debt at the start of the game, which is something I really like in a sci-fi campaign. Character creation also suggests appearance and relationships stemming from your concept. All in all, I like how efficiently it promotes roleplay. The world is both new and familiar in all the best ways. Players want to learn about it, and it doesn't take too much learning to see how you'll fit in. The mechanics are okay. It's a very straightforward D6 dice pool, where 6s are successes. My favorite part about it is that praying to your icon, your god, gives you a push your luck mechanic that will probably have consequences later. I also like how, in combat, you can spend extra successes to do things like increase damage, disarm an enemy, and other stuff like that. If you've got a dice pool, use it interestingly, and I think Coriolis does. The game has an adversarial metacurrency, though, where the DM gains darkness points when the PCs push their luck or have bad things happen to them. The metacurrency can be spent for rerolls or to make events happen to the detriment of the party. It's supposed to represent the malevolence of the dark between the stars and a sense of karmic balance all bundled in together. I'm not sure how I feel about it. On one hand, I like that it's an anti-BS measure for the DM, and it gives them a way to play without it being nebulous storytelling like a lot of rules-light games. But I also don't love the adversarial vibes of it. That's a matter of taste, I suppose. My biggest complaint about Coriolis is the layout of the book. Especially for new players, the amount of flipping 30 pages to jot down some numbers, then flip back to see where they apply, it's just not good. I'm now quite adept at navigating these PDFs if they have an outline, but I realized during character creation that that's a skill on its own that I shouldn't expect from brand new players. My great sadness of this game is that, like most games of its ilk, it doesn't have much guidance on what stories to tell. The game speaks about principles of its adventures, different scopes of adventure, and ways to set up an adventure. But besides running the first written adventure, I'm not sure how to know what the game is good for. It has a lot of do-anything language, but I don't know if it's supposed to be combat-heavy or survival-focused or politically roleplay-heavy. There's monsters, so should I send the party to hunt monsters? This, honestly, may be another layout issue. Perhaps in spreading out the description of the world, they've also spread out the guidance for what the GM should build around. I get the feeling that I'm supposed to have the supplemental books, and that makes the core rulebook feel like it's not quite prepping me for the game as well as it should. Like a lot of other games this size, I don't get the sense that it supports long-term or deep roleplay, which is a real bummer because the world is so cool. There's definitely a sense of, look at this page of talents. One day, all this will be yours. Or you can spend XP on raising your numbers. And that's about it. There's some cool XP sharing stuff, but fine. I get a feeling players won't be thinking about a future for their character, other than becoming more powerful by the very basic metrics of the game. All said, I really, really like the world, and I don't mind the mechanics. I'd like to see more of the ground level interactive world defined, so there's more longevity to stories instead of being like a sci-fi point crawl with nothing in between. I'd like to see character progression that helps the players tell a story and gain more knowledge of the world, and I'd probably prefer to play it with a D100 system. But for a 4 to 10 session campaign every few years or something, I really like it. And I'll say it again, as a world itself, it's one of the coolest I've ever come across. Just reading through the back of the book adventure, I loved practicing the names of stuff and making sure I knew how people were presenting themselves. My players had a fun time describing their appearance and picking thematic names. There's something so exciting and engaging about this world that makes you want to fit in. I encourage everyone to take a look at Coriolis, even just starting by Googling the art. I got the core book and some others in a humble bundle, so I'm sure that'll come around again. I think if you love the aesthetic and the feel of the world, the game itself will back up the art it presents, even if it might not have the longevity of a more mechanically and narratively advanced game. I'm excited to play again soon, and so are my players. And maybe one day we can meet in the corner bar in the Mulahad and swap stories from the Third Horizon.